Hey everybody, it's me again, your Sam, and today I kind of want to go over plotting for Planters, or basically my way I plot. Kind of want to just share with you my process that I have built myself up into doing here lately. I used to be a pantser. I did not plan anything. I just got an idea and I started writing. And I wrote more and more of those ideas down and formulated them into a story, and scenes were everywhere. And yeah, I noticed from doing that I often got stuck in the middle, or I just got stuck, period. I didn't know where I wanted to go with the story, or it just pilfered out. It wasn't exciting for me anymore. Just something to that nature. Or I got shiny new idea syndrome and I abandoned the old and started with the new. And there and again, somewhere in the middle, I kind of get bored with it and I not really know what to do. It was a never-ending vicious cycle. Today I kind of want to go through what I did in order to finish my first manuscript. Yeah, I've been writing ever since I was in middle school, and I have never finished a manuscript other than like a short story or something like that. So this is a full-length novel. It's a fantasy novel. I guess some of it would call it high fantasy, but I kind of imposter syndrome here. I kind of don't want to call it that yet because I don't feel like I'm that good of a writer, but I digress. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to tell you a little bit about this book right here. It's Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's a Cinderella retelling, obviously, and it's steampunk, and it is post-apocalyptic. It's after World War IV. So it's a really good read, and there are, I think, 6 books in this series. I don't know if the last 2 have come out. I know there's 4 out now, but I think she has 2 others planned, or they're in the process of coming out or something. So yeah, I highly recommend this. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because we're going to do an outline, Planster style, for a Cinderella retelling. Not this book, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's going to be a Cinderella retelling. And honestly, I'm never going to write a Cinderella retelling. Never say never, right? Just realized that I did that, so here we go. Okay, so we are now over here on my computer screen, so I can show you a loose outline of what I did. Now, I started out with I'm no hero, with just a basic 3x structure with 9 highlights, I guess, 9 sections to the book. And that's what I'm going to do right here. This is my first step from going from pantser to plantser. I am still not a plotter. I don't have everything mapped out like a usual plotter does. So in Act 1, Section 1, you're going to have like an introduction to your character. You're going to have an inciting incident that's going to change their life. And you're going to have kind of how that inciting incident is changing their life. A little bit of a reflection, a little bit of maybe rebelling against it. With Act 1 in our Cinderella retelling, let's see. So we are introduced to Cinderella. Ooh, let's spell it right. And we see that she's basically a slave in her own home. The inciting incident, maybe this time instead of it being like a ball announcement, that she works towards, that she really wants to go. Maybe she actually meets a fairy. And this fairy gives her like an idea of what she wants to do or what she wants to work toward. Maybe gives her a hint of freedom. We're still going to be in Act 1 right here. So in the second block, most of this is going to be the action of moving from what she's used to something that is different, something that is going to definitely change her life. Maybe she runs off with a fairy. Maybe he's a pretty boy. Maybe he's a pretty fairy. Could be a he, could be a she. So, runs off with a fairy, lives in the fairy realm for a while just to escape reality. Now, this area right here is where we want to try to move into where the majority of this book is going to be. There's maybe even a plot twist, so maybe the stepmother finds her and brings her back. Let's put Anne in here. Maybe the fairy gets angry, or the set of fairies get angry, and they murder the family and drag her back to the fairy realm. Now, that just got dark, right? Right. In Act 2, we are in the new world. We are in the new reality. We are in the bulk of the book. This is where our main character can learn the ropes of the new world, or is forced into the new world completely. Maybe here Cinderella starts. She finds herself kind of pretty much in the same situation as she was at home. Maybe she doesn't know that the fairies actually murdered her family. Maybe they kidnapped her and they went back on their own and actually murdered a family. She doesn't know that her family has been murdered by the fairies. So she is living a happy life. She's having a fun and games. She's learning how to live with the fairies. She is, yeah, maybe she's probably still cleaning for one of them. And she learns him or her. Still haven't decided whether or not this is going to be like a, maybe it's a Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast all wrapped in one story. The second part of Act 2 is the midpoint. You gotta build up to a midpoint. There's gotta be a point in the story where there are trials. It's no longer fun. It's no longer easy for our characters. She finds out that her family was killed. She runs away. Maybe here she runs into the prince. This right here is a midpoint. It's a reversal. She's basically back in the human realm, but she's not back to where she first started. That's very important. You don't want to throw your main character all the way back to the first point right here. You just don't. It's not that big of a reversal. You still have to have enough tension and enough wonder how far your character is either going to fall or succeed here. Act 2, Part 3 of it, there's some consequences of her actions. Maybe some of the fun and games in here. Like I said, maybe the fairy that kidnapped her has technically kind of fallen in love with her, and that's the reason why he or she kidnapped her in the first place. Fairies can be very fickle creatures. Consequences. The fairy that kidnaps her has found her with the prince, demands her back like she owes him, pretty much. And now the prince has you know, honor bound to protect her. Wow. Let's try to type. Shall we? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Act 3, Part 1 is basically the calm before the storm. Maybe there's a duel scheduled. So she has time with the prince. Maybe she is actually held in an area that is the middle of town. She starts living with the mayor or something like that because they are a party that is unbiased. And here there's usually a plot twist. There's usually something that goes kind of sideways here. She is living with her step family. The fairy has to have a reason to basically fall in love with this human, even though there's nothing really special about her. So maybe she is actually a princess, or she is half fae. Yeah, we'll do that. She finds this out because maybe the mayor has this huge library of everything that's happened in this town, and she just starts reading. Here we go with Belle again. So this is Belle and Cinder together. This next section is next to the last section. She's got to realize that she can do shit on her own. I mean, come on. Everybody can't rely on somebody else. There's an action moment. There's a power within moment. She has a rallying moment somewhere in here. Maybe here she starts practicing with fae magics because, like I said, the mayor has all these books and she can read up on how to use her magics. Maybe the duel is scheduled like a month away or something, you know. It's a fairy tale, but we still have to make it a little bit realistic, right? Right. So this last section here is the end of the book. It's the climax. It's the final battle. It's the resolution as well. So here is where your character can actually return to some form of normalcy, but it's going to be their new normal. They can't return to what this is right here because, I mean, we killed off her family, so of course she can't return to what is here. And plus, she's also half fae. So there's no way that she can return to any type of thinking or any type of action that she really used to have. So you kind of got to show that here. You gotta show the character growth. You got to show everything right here. So the climax is the duel. But maybe instead of it being between the prince and the fairy, it's Cinderella and the fae. She is fighting for her own life, and maybe the prince, like, yeah, he's honor bound, but he also sees that she needs to be in control of her own life and she's willing to take it, and maybe he promises her that he will step in if he sees it going sideways. And that's his honor bound. Let's say this ends on a happy note. So she defeats the fae, lives happily ever after with a prince. Or hell, she lives happily ever after with herself. Because she don't need anybody. She is herself. So yeah, that it right there is a very loose, very quick outline. And yes, I outline this quickly because I want to get all these ideas down and out so that I basically don't lose them. Now, you see some weaknesses in here. I know you do because I see weaknesses in here. This is where I discovery write in order to strengthen this outline. This outline is not going to be my final story. It's not going to be it in its final form at all. I know that. I'm okay with it. I'm flexible with my outlines that way. But if I get stuck here, I know I need to build to this. I have a place to go. I don't have, you know, shiny new idea syndrome when I feel like I need to quit this story, okay? I have a place to go. I have a place to build to. And that is the reason why I have started creating loose outlines. Okay, so this video took a little bit longer than I expected to actually do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this into 2 parts. So you have finished part 1. Congratulations. You know, confetti, whatever you want to do. And next Thursday I will post part 2, where we will go into the 27 section plot structure that I actually use now. And what we'll be doing is taking this plot that we just created and inserting it into the 27 section plot. So if you would like to see that, stay tuned for next Thursday. And as always, if you like the content that you are seeing, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be updated as to when I upload a new video, please hit the little bell. And I will have links to other Authortubers in the description. Most of those do live streams if you want to have a live ride-in. And you can also find all my social media links so that you can follow me on all the social medias. Have a great day, keep writing, and remember to smile about something today.